breakfast with me, Kafui Day. Panam, panam, panam. Panam, panam, panam. Angelina, oh, every Christ, perfect peace. It's all peace in the house here, no violence. We come in peace and friendship and bring you good tidings of great joy. But if you misbehave, you'll be dealt with. My guests, one of them speaks for the National Chief Imam. His name is Sheikh Aremeyaw Shaibu. The other speaks on political affairs for the Convention People's Party. He's also an energy expert, and his name is Kwame Jantuah. Gentlemen, shalom, salam alaikum to both of you.
Good morning.
Shalom, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. The whole year I haven't seen you.
The whole year.
The whole year.
The 19 days of the
whole year we haven't been there. How are you doing?
Very well. Kafu,
yes.
A piece of information intrigued me this morning.
Yes.
And I was wondering, can this happen in Ghana? Mm-hmm. Can it happen largely in Africa? Mm-hmm. The Prime Minister of New Zealand has indicated that she hasn't anything left in her tank as Prime Minister. So she's going to resign before the next election.
What tank is this?
She doesn't have anything to offer anymore.
Oh.
Yes. She's done as much as she can.
She put her hands up?
Yes, so she's going to resign before the next election.
Really?
Yes. Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Wow.
Will it happen here?
I don't know.
It's
not likely.
Well, I was intrigued when I heard it.
It's like Pope Benedict. He said he was resigning
that she's going to now hand over to someone who has a lot in the tank to continue where she left off.
Wow.
Will we do it here?
That's something to think about. That's something to think about.
Not too long ago in the UK, it happened 45 days in office.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was just forced out.
No. The lady.
The lady.
The lady was forced out.
Yes.
Yeah. No. She
came and said
she couldn't do it.
Yeah. She felt the heat and 45 days.
That's it.
But she
felt, a man who was sacked.
But she felt the heat. This one hasn't felt
no heat.
Her own personal.
Okay.
I have nothing left in the tank, so I'm giving her.
That's honesty.
Honesty.
Yeah. Charlie, I can't.
Honesty.
My hands are up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm going.
Shy.
Yeah. I like it. Has it happened before? Do you know? Let's know.
In Africa?
Yeah, I'm curious. Talk to me.
It won't happen in Africa.
It won't happen.
Let's go and
search the record.
Why won't it happen in Africa? Because once we get into power, we're not there to serve. We're there to impose. If we're there to serve and we get to a certain position, we'll decide, I have nothing to offer, so let me leave for somebody else to take over.
Will it happen in Africa? Are you hopeful? I'm only asking questions. Let me know. 055-556-1034. Sheikh, what's on your mind this morning?
I have bothered and I have reflected deeply on something that occupied the center stage of public discourse last week, and that is the young people who insulted the president, and they were given some punishment, and the punishment also generated so much debate, and finally we had the president coming in to say, well, they should look at an alternative punishment and all that. But the core issue is, how did we get here? How did we get, I cannot say the age of those young girls.
Teenagers, all of them.
Teenagers.
Yeah.
You might disagree with the president, all right, but let's look at the age of the president. So in our age now, young people of this age can come out and spew out such effusions and insult the elderly in the society. It's important for us to reflect what could be the consequence and how did we get there.
Yes.
I remember His Excellency Jonathan Mills very well on this subject, and I keep on repeating this. When he took office, one of the things that occupied his attention and gave him concern is the politics of insults. And he was in office for a time.
4 years.
Yeah. But early part of his office, that's when he was really concerned about this. I would have wished he lived longer today and to witness and to hear, even if he's out of office, whether he could be given the opportunity to give his reflections on it, because it's something that he spoke about a long time. And And he called the religious bodies, Muslims, Christians, and Pediacy, and he was trying to use them as a way to really get into the mind of the public about how we should really handle this matter, just because we are in politics, that we can really reduce ourselves to such levels. But I want to talk to young people. The accounts put it this way, that penny ene obi yobida, but akorade obi ayebi. In other words, the elderly, the gap between the elderly and the young. The elderly went through the mill, and they were at one point at the stage of the young. But the young people are yet to grow to see what the elderly have seen. And that is why there is wisdom, there is blessing to be respectful to the elderly, so you can receive their blessings. Indeed, even if the elderly make mistakes, those mistakes they have made is an opportunity for us to see how things can be corrected. So sometimes we have dwelt on the mistakes of our predecessors, and then have charted out a better course in future. So you may disagree with the elderly, all right, and without the politics of it, it's anytime you see young people throwing stones at the elderly, observe very well. Anytime you see a group of young people throwing stones or mocking at the elderly, there must be an elderly person somewhere hiding, inciting them to do that. And it's a cycle. As the young people insult the elderly today, I pray they live longer. And I keep on saying it. If you are 20 years and somebody is 90 years, and you have a good reason to insult him, I pray you don't die the next 70 years, well, when you also be 90. And let's see how a certain young person also will subject you to that kind of treatment. So I call on young people. I was also young before. I was brought up in a house that taught me to be respectful to the elderly. And I keep on telling young people in my mosque that please, as you grow, be careful with your life. Behave in such a way that a certain elderly person will look at you in the eye, face to face, and say a word of blessings to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yep. That's a message that deserves to be re-echoed. That they should behave in such a way that
the elderly will look at them in the eyeball because of their satisfaction and say, God bless you. May you be blessed. Avoid the curse of the elderly.
But
Thank you very much.
Kafui, the moral fabric of this country was broken way, way back. Are we disciplined people? Most of all, do we abide by the laws of the country? That's the key.
Those are the key things.
Yes. We are not disciplined. We don't abide by the laws. We don't respect. Trotro drivers, typical example. And you see them behind the steering wheel, young people, and they're driving recklessly. And you stop next to them and you say, why did you do this? They just scream at you. Who's responsible for that moral fabric? Is it the church? Is it government? Is it parents?
Family.
Is it the people? Who? And who can bring that moral fabric back? It has to start from somewhere. And unfortunately here, the cocktail of partisan politics has not helped us. But we need to change it, and it has to start from the classroom.
Yeah, and the family.
That's where it starts from. Everything we talk about, we tend to blame government and all. It's us. We're pointing at government, 1, 2, 3, pointing back at us. So we have that responsibility. And it's quite shameful and sometimes sad, especially those of us who come on platforms like this. Sometimes some of the insults we get, people sending messages, and they will insult you for saying something that you feel is right. They'll insult you. And life is what? Expression of ideas, not so? I might not agree with you. Even your wife, do you agree with her all the time?
No.
Do you beat her because she doesn't agree with you?
Absolutely not.
You find a way around it. And so, let's see how we can bring it back. Because The young generation, I'm 65 now, very soon I'll be in my grave. What about those coming? And they are not ready to learn from the older ones. And the older ones too are not ready to do the right things from them to learn from them. And today in this country, if you speak the truth, you are the worst person, unfortunately. Something has to change. Something has to shift.
Something has to change.
How we
something
change
has to
and how we shift it is the question.
Is the question. Anything else you want to rant about? Or you're
No.
done? You're done. So talking about yes, quickly.
This Akan thing. I like sometimes as we pick from the Bible, from the Quran, but I think that our traditional people also have wisdom. And sometimes some of the things they say, you need to reflect very deep, and that actually also comes with the matrix out of which our values are generated. Sometimes simple proverbs.
If you be a penny,
I mean, that is it. So it is honorable to be elderly. Akwada hon ninsa hohoroa onim penifo didi. This is deep.
The child who knows how to wash his or her hands, who eat with.
but do we teach this in school?
That is it.
We don't teach that in school anymore.
So it means when you pass through the path and you reach the time of elderly, it is honorable to be elderly. That's why when you know how to wash your hands, even though you are not of that generation, you are made to eat with them. In other words, you come close and interact with them.
It's a promotion.
It's a promotion. It's a promotion. So politeness and humility, young people of today.
All right.
I just want to call on you: be careful how politicians push you into insulting your elderly, because it is the politics and how we elderly people have insulted ourselves, and sometimes it's become the norm that in young people who are not directly in politics have seen it to be normal. Okay. That he forgets that as he insults another elderly person, he's insulting his own father.
Well, normalization of insults has to end. Great thoughts from my guest, Sheikh, the Sheikh and the lawyer. Yeah.
Today, that's a combination.
Yeah, it's a combination today. We have the Sheikh and the lawyer. Listen, talking about issues to do with the law and the young people, there was a viral audio that made the rounds 2 days ago, where a gentleman was alleging that the police tried to plant narcotics in his vehicle during a nighttime checkpoint. Now, I want you to listen a little bit to what the gentleman alleged, because there have been developments to this story. You're watching GTV Breakfast, and we take a little bit of the clip of this audio of this chap who claimed he was a doctor and who claimed that the police were trying to implicate him in some illegality.
Guys, good evening. I'm Dr. Patrick Asiedu. It's been a while. Yeah. Guys, there's something that happens to me and I feel like sharing it. I think it will happen to anybody. So I feel like sharing it. Okay, so this will happen. Friday, I was coming from Trasaco. Then I wanted to use the motorway to hit the main road. I stay at Kwashiman so that I can get home fast. So I met these policemen on the road. They are 4 in number, and they asked me to pull over. I did. When they came, they said I should come down from the car. They want to search me and search the car. I wasn't comfortable with it, but I'm sorry. Maybe it will be long, but try to. Listen to it. It can help you. It can happen to anybody. I wasn't comfortable with it, but I feel like they are doing their work. So let me come out from the car. So I did as they said. And they went straight to my car, they checked it, and in just seconds I was there, and this policeman called me that I should come. And when it was like, okay, we can see that you have your tie, and he said, you're a doctor, right? I said, oh, yeah. Yes. I said, okay, Mr. Doctor, we don't have any problem with you, but what is this weed doing in your car? And I was like, what do you mean? He said, look under your seat. What is this weed doing there? And what is this cocaine doing over there? It was like cocaine and weed in my car. And it was like, yeah, look. Yes, and I watched it, and it was there. I found the weed and the cocaine there, and I was like, what? Cocaine and weed? What is this thing doing in my car? I have no any idea about it. And besides, my car is holding me. I don't even have a neighbor, that closest friend that I can say that, okay, I pick him, we go to party or something like that we will smoke or we will use cocaine. No. And they still insist that no, it's for me. I said, no, I have no any idea about it. And they was like, okay, if that's the case, you have to pay 20,000. Otherwise, we will send you to the station and we will send you to Narcotics and Drugs Board. And after murder, drugs is the second highest degree offense. So you can spend 15 years in jail. So pay 20,000 so that we allow you to go. And it was like, this is whack. What do you mean? And this policeman was like, I should force touch the substance. And I said, I'm not going to do it. They should wait. So I called my brother. My brother is at the Southern Command of the Ghana Armed Force. So I called my brother. My brother came with his boys, and it was like, so you found this thing in my brother's car? And they said yes. And they said, okay, then we should, what's next? And they said, the thing is, we have to go to the station. Or either he paid 20,000 or we have to go to the station. And my brother was like, okay, no problem. Let's proceed to the station. When we got there, we wrote a statement, and my brother was like, so what? And they said, oh, we should go to Narcotics and control something board. So we were on our way going, then we got a call from their commander. He said that we should meet somewhere. So we arranged and we met. When we met, their commander was like, what exactly happened? And my brother explained it to them. And my brother told them that.
So that's the audio that was going around. The police released a statement, I think 2 days ago, saying they were investigating. And now this is a second statement signed, it was written on the 18th, which is yesterday. Police today, 18th January, have arrested a man suspected to be the person in the audio tape describing an alleged elaborate incident of criminal behavior on the part of the police. In the audio tape that has been widely circulated, the man who introduced himself as Dr. Patrick Asiedu claimed that he had been stopped by some police officers who planted substances suspected to be narcotics in his car and attempted to extort money from him. Police investigations so far have established that the man who has been arrested and is in police custody is indeed called Patrick Asiedu. He is an Uber driver and not a doctor. The investigations show that the entire story narrated in the audio tape is false and a total fabrication by the suspect. The supposed military intervention and the alleged fight between the police officers and the military described in such dramatic detail in the audio tape are all false and a figment of the suspect's imagination. Equally false are the vivid descriptions of having been taken to the Accra Central and East Legon police stations, as well as the Narcotics Control Commission. The claims of fingerprints being taken are also untrue. Patrick Asiedu, the suspect, however, alleged that he had once witnessed a similar incident to what he described in the audio tape happen to one of his passengers. So, meanwhile, in another audio tape that has come to the attention of the police, the suspect alleges to have met with the Inspector General of Police. We wish to categorically state that this claim is also false and should be disregarded. Investigations are still ongoing, and suspect Patrick Asiedu, who is currently in police custody, will be brought to face justice. Signed, Grace Ansa Akrofi, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Director, Public Affairs. There's a picture of him. You know how these days the police, when they get suspects, they blur their faces. So you can go check it out on Facebook and on Twitter. They are very active in their communication. So this is the update to the story. Let me go back to my guests and find out what they think about it. I see Sheikh in deep reflection, and Mr. Jantuah also just wondering what. So let's start with the lawyer first of all. So what can this man be charged with if this thing goes to court? This Asiedu chap.
It depends on what the police decide to charge him with. Quite a plethora of areas. Spreading false information could be one of them. But one would like to know the intent of why he did such a thing.
So the reasons behind doing this?
Yes, the reasons behind it. There must be an intention for causing this kind of panic. That could be another charge for him. And so I don't know why he would do such a thing. Even if it is something you witnessed before, should you go to this extent and get everybody on tenterhooks? I'm sure it does happen. I'm sure it does happen. Otherwise, in 2019, the police wouldn't have come out with that statement that officers should stop planting drugs in people's vehicles. It does happen. But I would not know why he would do such a thing. And let's give the police some thumbs up that they've been able to identify him and arrested him. There must be, if he's not autistic, if there's something not wrong with him, he would need to tell us why he did such a thing. But the question that you then ask, is this enough news to make headlines? when we know sometimes it happens? And if the police know it happens, what have they done so far? Because after the 2019 point that was raised, I would have thought the police would also come out and tell us that in 2019 we gave a warning to our officers. These are statistics we've had so far from 2019 to 2021 for some of our officers doing it. This is what we've done to punish those officers doing it. So really, we have been able to take it out of the system. We haven't heard anything like that because it happens. No two ways about it. The other side of the story, when I heard it, when the gentleman said some policemen stopped him, the first thing that came to my mind was, were these really policemen, or weren't they people who had dressed, criminals who dressed in police uniform? Because isn't it strange for a policeman, maybe it happens, but isn't it strange for a policeman to say, give us 20,000 or we'll take you to, the police station? Why would a policeman do that? Is it that our system is so corrupted that the policeman has forgotten his duties as a policeman? And I don't know why the gentleman would say such a thing. But if the police are saying that it's false, and they can prove to us that it's false by the gentleman also indicating that it's false. So come on, have you seen the gentleman's face?
His picture is on the police's Facebook and Twitter.
Okay.
But they blur. When you're a suspect, they blur your face these days.
Yes, but why are they blurring his face?
He's a suspect yet. I don't think he's been convicted. When they convict you, then they release your.
Why?
identity.
No, why?
That's that's what they do these days.
Why?
No, because you are a suspect.
Yes, so what?
So
If I'm a suspect of carrying cocaine, will they blur my face?
yes,
Why?
that's what they do now.
No, but why? I want to know why. The fact that I'm a suspect.
Well, because you are innocent until proven guilty.
Oh, please. Then everybody who is innocent and proven guilty, his face should be blurred.
That's what they do these days.
Really?
Yes, that's police practice now.
No.
Yeah.
It is wrong.
They should show your face.
Yeah. Show your face. You're a suspect, but you can be found guilty, can't you?
Yes, when you are guilty, then we release your.
Why? Why? I don't understand it. Tell me why.
I don't know. I'm not a policeman.
Exactly. I don't. Is it law? Is there law backing that?
Well, this is a good question you are asking, though.
Or is a convention we are starting?
These are good questions.
Or is it because you bled the face, then you can go back door and do some deal with the person?
I'm frustrated because I can't give you answers.
I don't understand it. Some of these things I can't understand.
Yeah. So we'll get some answers from the police on why they are blurring their faces.
When did that start?
It started with the new IGB.
Why?
Okay, I'll get the answers now. This is why it's frustrating me now. We'll get some answers for you.
I don't understand this.
I'll get some answers for you.
It doesn't make sense.
We'll try and unravel the mystery around it. Sheikh, what did you make of this story? Did you hear the audio when it came up?
Yes, I heard it. I mean, several people, some people, I even don't know how they even got my number. They sent it on my WhatsApp. And I was curious, so I opened and I heard the story. And the way he gave the development, the scenario, in my mind, I thought that if it's true, it's easily to investigate. Because you are mentioning somebody who is in charge of the Southern Command. So if we can identify the Southern Command, and you are mentioning police people at certain areas, certain commander, and so on and so forth. And one of the things I was telling myself is, so when all these things happened, he himself couldn't report this to any police station.
Why did he come and do an audio, right?
On audio. Why did he come to an audio to send all those things? So I began having my doubts about, because we are in an era of fake news.
Donald Trump's favorite words. Fake news.
Ethics no more has a place. Value no more has a place in our scheme of things. So depending on whatever intention you have, you can do so. And the use of this social media itself for targeting people, for defaming people, is something what is trending now. Yeah, so we've lost our sense of ethics, sense of morality, and responsible behavior, and that's where there is somebody sent a video that has to do with the Muslim community, and that raised an alarm, and the whole Ministry of Health and the Greater Accra Regional Hospital had to really send a huge delegation to the Chief Imam. And the gentleman made a video. His report was that now what is happening at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital is they are targeting Muslim corpses. But they said they remove the kidneys of the Muslims when they die because, according to their scientific estimation, because we Muslims don't drink, we have a very healthy kidneys.
So they take it out of the dead body?
Yes, and sell it.
This was what was going around.
Yes, he made a video. I think he's somewhere outside the country or so. and that was an alarm to the Ministry of Health and then the administration of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. And what the Chief Imam said, according to our teachings, when somebody brings you an information, the first thing you do to investigate and establish the truth.
But Sheikh, tell me, to take somebody's kidneys out, shouldn't they be alive? If somebody's dead, what's the use of their kidneys?
If it's been pronounced dead, then all the organs are no more functioning. So
you're not healthy again.
Yes.
But how somebody will gather the courage to send certain information and in modern day social media, it takes 1 second. It takes 1 second for things to reach the whole corners of the world.
There's a lot of fake news going
Somebody
around.
wants to destroy you. He just says Kafui A, B, C, D.
That's it.
And before you realize, your uncle, your younger brother, who is far away in the North Pole, is calling you to say what is happening. So we still have a challenge of our time, and I keep on saying again. Anytime I go to the mosque, I tell the young people that you live in a very strange time and you are confronted with the difficulty of making choices. And every day you are confronted with circumstances out of which you must make choices. Any choice you make is your discretion and you live to see the consequences. So I like talking to young people a lot. Because you see, these are people that at my age, I think we are age mates with my good brother. Give us the next 5 years. We are going to 70, 80. We are fading off. We don't die. We become so weak, frail. We are no more relevant in the community. These are the young people. And that's my worry. As I fade away from what I'm doing today, certain young person who is, let's say, 25 years today is the one who will grow to begin to play some of these roles. So if at that level we are even getting destroyed, and for me, that's my worry. And I say, any advice we give to the young people, we are not doing them favor. It is in our own interest. So I also talk to the elderly, the family, the school, the political leaders, our cultural leaders, that when we advise and guide the young people, it is not because we want to do them favor. It is in our own interest. In fact, the future of our community. So this gentleman, very good question my brother raised, what could really have motivated this kind of thing? If truly it didn't happen and he said it happened, but we must still get to the root of it. The police must still go ahead, do their investigation, and let's see him by the face.
He wants to see his face.
Yes. Especially when it is established that what he did was wrong. And he must face the rigors of the law.
I think when they convict him, then we see his face.
Why?
Yeah.
I'm getting answers.
No, I agree with you because now it's an allegation. It's like these days, when let's say you don't want to expose people's faces, like a victim of rape, for example, because of her whole personality, her whole dignity, and so on. That maybe the person he's not the one who did it, but meanwhile his face has gone across the world. That so you just want to blame it. Now when it's established, now we expose him for the world to know that this is a gentleman who did A or B, and he is dishonorable, and nowhere he goes that he can be taken seriously. He cannot be relied upon. He doesn't deserve the respect of society. He cannot be honored. That is the way. His face will show him up. He has an identity. He has features, and anybody who sees him, he wants a woman to marry. Say, oh,
you are the guy.
You leave. You want to marry me?
But Kafi, that's a different kettle of fish. Somebody who is alleged to have raped somebody. That one I understand.
Yes.
But this one,
He's still a suspect, isn't he?
he's still a suspect.
And it could be a conspiracy. There could be other people involved in this whole thing. He's not.
And so,
in
but
modern day
he
times.
took the lead.
So
He took the lead.
his face should be shown.
Yes, he took the lead. He decided to do it.
We will get access from the Ghana police for you. Okay. The inability of my inability to answer your question is frustrating me, and I need to get answers. So
The answer will come.
The answer will come from the police. We sending the checks out. Don't worry, cry. This is GTV Breakfast. My guest, Lawyer Jantuah, who wants to know why the police these days is blurring the faces of suspects. He wants to know why.
So would you say, and it's alleged that the priest Kusi Eboa, Kusi Boate, with regards to the cathedral, isn't he a suspect? Isn't it alleged?
Police hasn't arrested.
Isn't it alleged?
Yes, but he's not undergoing any police investigation right now. Okay. It's a Shraj issue.
Yes.
Shraj don't have such conventions.
Okay.
Yes. And Sheikh.
And for him to, he's a known person. So
Yes.
if you mention his name,
Yeah, we know him.
This one is not a known person.
yeah,
All we know is that he was.
He's an Uber driver.
he's a doctor, Dr. something. I mean.
If he had used this scenario as like fiction for a story, it would have been a gripping story for people to follow.
Yes.
You know? But now you put it out as an audio, and then you are purportedly doing public education and warning people. Then it becomes something completely
And
different.
he said, if you remember, he said, "Hello once again." What does he mean by once again? Has he done something like that before?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said because he's yet to. I'm getting hearing from the police that it's because he's yet to face the court. That's how come his face is not.
Well,
So when he gets to court, his face will be bled.
I'll ask that question again. So those are the stories. Let us know what your thoughts are on this. And by the way, we commend the Ghana police for their very swift action. You know, the last time we were commending them for swift action, it was when Meek Mill's phone was stolen, and within hours, Ghana police found the people the guy who stole the phone, and we were saying, "Hey, Ghana police, you people, when it's foreigners, you move quickly, but when it's Ghanaians, you are slow." This is a quick one, and Asiedu is not from Ukraine; he's a Ghanaian, and he put a thing out, and he's been arrested, and we want to commend the Ghana police.
Why would anybody want to steal McMill's phone? Why?
Oh, we don't know. Let's not even go to Big Bill again. We're taking too much real estate in our brains. Let's go to another issue. So the police say if he has been declared wanted with his face out to help in the search, they would not have bled the face.
Say that again.
He said if he had been declared wanted with his face exposed to help in the search, they would not have bled his face.
So can I say they are eating and abetting?
Wow. Now we're going to the courtroom here. Listen, let's get out of the courtroom and go to our money issues, because the domestic debt exchange issue is still rumbling. Headline in today's Ghanaian Times: Finance Ministry, individual bondholders have struck a deal, agreed to set up a technical committee to address the concerns. They will address the issue of whether the individual bondholders will be exempted from the program, or the terms of the program will be adjusted to suit their requests. So there was a closed-door meeting between the two parties yesterday at the Ministry of Finance. Representatives of more than 1 million individual bondholders were at the meeting. Former CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Senyo Hosea, was there. Sector Minister Ken Oforiatta and other officials of the ministry also represented the government. After the meeting, Mr. Oforiatta said the parties had an effective discussion towards working together to resolve their differences. He said that the program was voluntary, and although the 1.5 million individual bondholders had stated their concerns, the government was also concerned about the 30.8 million population. Okay. So the minister said in order for the country to resolve its current precarious situation with the IMF support, some groups will be affected more than others because vulnerability was not the same. So basically, more talking to deal with this. Let's take a listen to this video, this interaction, and then we'll come back and get some comments from the Sheikh and the lawyer.
You wrote a statement, and
as for the technical committee,
my brother was like, "So what?
to
They
be
say we
set
should
up,
go to narcotics
and we do
and
await
control something board." So
the two
we on
members
our way
that
going,
you
then we
sent
got
to
a call
us,
from their commander. He
and
said that
we
we
should
should
have
meet
the
somewhere.
first meeting tomorrow. So it is of urgency. It's important. We must signal to the country that we can indeed circle the wagons and work within our limitations, but ensure that we all come out ahead somewhat, even with our limited resources. So once again, let me emphasize that indeed the program that we have is voluntary. What do we all have to do to be able to put our shoulders to the heel? And some are more vulnerable than others, and therefore some will contribute more than others.
You have laid bare before us the economic challenges that you have to manage. We believe it's also giving you sleepless nights. And we trust that the same sleepless nights, or even more, is what our members also face. The consensus to have a technical team review the options that we have proposed is very welcome. And we look forward to working with your team, effective tomorrow, as indicated, for us to find a common path forward. We have clearly maintained our argument that we constitute a very small portion of the pie, which we believe should not hurt. But the impact on this subsector is the harshest. We commit to working with you on your plans to improve your revenue generation, to working with you on the ways to rationalize the expenditure sustainably and also manage the general Ghanaian expectation under these crises, to make it possible for us to reach the Jordan that you indicated. We trust that we'll find a common path forward, something functional for the sustainability of our motherland, Ghana.
Mr. Jantuah, please decode all that was being said.
Decode?
Yes.
What is there to decode?
Yeah. What are they saying, really?
What is there to decode? Why is it the tortoise and hare attitude that we are adopting to this thing? The hare being government, the tortoise being
the people.
The people. And the tortoise have now reached the people. This discussion should have happened in September. This discussion they're having should have happened in September. It should have been the first thing when they had the intention to do this bond thing. It should be the first thing they should have done. Called bondholders in. This is what government is thinking of doing because of A, B, C, D, E, and because of where we stand. And what's the finance minister saying? Wasn't the finance ministry the same ministry that said it's voluntary, but if you don't do it, we can't do anything to help you? What's he telling us now? You know, for me, and I don't know why the president is forcing Kenofurata on us. The ducks aren't in a row. The ducks aren't in a row. They don't have an option. They are not looking at other options. And he doesn't seem to have anything to offer. He should do what the Australian Prime Minister has done and leave us alone.
New Zealand.
The New Zealand Prime Minister has done. And leave us alone. You caused the problem. You're part and parcel of the problem. Parliament is part and parcel of the problem. When Kenofurata was bringing all these loans to be ratified by Parliament, what did they say?
They are telling
Did
us
they
that
try and stop him? Did they try and say, hey, Jack, hold on.
you don't buy the Russia-Ukraine
Have you looked at the impact of some of these loans we are taking?
You don't buy the Russia-Ukraine COVID difficulties, global problems.
Has it come into this thing? Has anybody talked about Russia, global COVID? Has anybody talked about it? Anyway, have they been able to account totally for the COVID funds that came in? Have they been able to account for it? So what are we talking about? And you want the people? Yes, let's spread it open. And for me, I believe we need to have a national discussion on some of these things. And it is up to the president to make sure that that national discussion is held. It's not up to Kenofurata. Has this thing gone to cabinet? Has cabinet sat and discussed it? Has it gone to parliament, where the representatives of the people are there? Don't you think it should? And if I bought bonds towards my pension, you're telling me that I would be able to realize some of the interest in 15 years. Will I be alive? Will I be alive by then? And what if you say 15 years and I don't leave a will? What happens? You know, the cocktail of issues with this bond thing, for me, he shouldn't have extended the date. He should have said, we are suspending it. We are now going to sit and see how best. Because the IMF, do they require us to do this bond thing? They require us to show them how we are going to manage the debt sustainability. They haven't said go to bondholders. They haven't said go to treasury. They haven't said it. You have decided to do that. But you offered me the bond. I didn't come to you and say to you that, look, give me bond to buy. You brought it and you convinced me. And a lot of people, after the financial crisis, when the Kinofurata did what he did with the banks, they had nowhere to go. And they felt the bond was the best thing to do. So they went into the bond. And surprisingly, throughout the world, government bonds are the most safest.
Can that be said for Ghana now?
Why is Ghana not safest? Why? Why are we going through what we are going through today? And you know, way back, sometime 2021, the country was bankrupt and they said nothing to us. And it's because of the bankruptcy of the country, that's why they are doing gold to oil. They knew it way back. And the governor of the Bank of Ghana, what did he say to us? He said we are left with 6 weeks of import cover. 6 weeks, less than 5 billion.
What is import cover?
Import cover, the amount of money that we have in reserve that would help us import goods in. Pharmaceuticals, fuel, all that. And they knew we didn't have enough money to bring in refined petroleum products. So they went to the gold way. Come on. Government should be open and transparent with us. Where we've gotten to is transparency, openness, and accountability that will bring others on board. And government shouldn't still be pushing certain projects that people find challenging to swallow.
It appears this domestic debt exchange program is non-negotiable. They're pig-headed about the whole thing. They want to push this thing through.
But it's the pig-headedness that should stop. Ghana isn't for the government in power. Ghana is for all of us. And you've come back to us. And it is our savings that you want to go into. The same way they tried going into e-levy, where the president said, I'm determined to pass this e-levy thing. I'm determined to pass it. And when he said he was determined to pass it, what did we get from it? What has been the results of that? Look, they can't put so many taxes on us and now go into our savings too. Because look, we don't pay realistic salaries. We don't pay realistic wages. And unfortunately, we don't pay realistic pensions. And so people are always trying to find a way to invest their money so that the pakpaka they do, they can afford. And that is what we should be looking at. We should look at realistic salaries, realistic wages, and these realistic salaries and wages should be tied to productivity in the public sector. It should be tied to productivity. Is it tied to productivity? The salaries and wages that we pay, is it tied to productivity? So you see that there has to be a whole rationale with regards to how we handle the economy. Because where we've gotten to, we are in the ditch. We are in the ditch. And in that ditch, it's not one person who can get us out. It's a group. Look, we have quite a lot of crack economists in this country. Let me only take even that side. Crack economists in this country. It would have been great if the president had said, look, guys, where we are now, we can't handle this ourselves. Let's bring others in. Let's bring the economists in. Let's bring some of the stakeholders in, and let's sit and see what we can do. Has it happened?
It's not happened.
We go forward and then we come back. This meeting that haven't they come back? If they were to have held it before they decided to do this, wouldn't that have been better?
Let's see what happens on the 31st of January, because the deadline is supposed to be that.
I think they should have suspended it and gone back to basics and see how best we can handle it. Because there are quite a lot of things in the budget that we can cut. And I give kudos to Parliament for cutting the 80 million they put towards the cathedral, and they put 77 million to sanitation. Is the cathedral more important than people's livelihoods? That you put 80 million in the budget for the cathedral. Look, we shouldn't get things wrong, because people's livelihoods depend on the investments they've made.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kwame Jantuah, who is the chairman of the Political Affairs Committee of the Convention People's Party, and a very proud Ghanaian. Sheikh, domestic debt exchange program. Finally, a meeting is happening. It looks like e-levy all over again. It looks like re-registration all over again. You push the policy through, there's pushback, then you say, let's talk. History is just repeating itself in a cycle.
The complexity of the situation where we find ourselves now makes it like we are walking in a maze, and we are meeting intersections, and we are unable to say, do we go, is it the right that will lead us to the final destination, or the left? And that's why I agree with Mr. Jantuah. It's unfortunate that the government had to remain until it is compelled beyond resistance before accepting this kind of arrangement where we are attempting to reach consensus, bringing on board those who are directly affected by this kind of arrangement. I think this consensus, we should have done this one much earlier. Knowing that they said there are so many ways of killing the cat. That's what they that's what they say. Cat, yeah. In other words, there is not only one approach to dealing with a complex problem. That's why you must look at alternatives. And when I was in school, I was taught that in mathematics, in multiplication and addition, they said there's something they call the commutative properties of multiplication and addition.
Break it down for me. Break it down for me. I'm a simple man. Break it down for me. Say it again. Say it again. What is it?
I'm an art student.
Hey, no, I want to hear. What did you say, Sheikh?
The commutative properties. Property of multiplication and addition.
Commutative properties
of multiplication and addition. Multiplication is like to say 3 times 6 is equal to
18.
It's equal to 6 times 3.
Yes.
Say that again.
Yes.
It's like saying that 3 times 6 will give you the same result as 6 times 3.
Correct.
So it's commutative.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the same thing when it comes to addition. So you are going to Kumasi, your final destination is Kumasi, but there are several routes.
Yes.
That makes it easy for you to go. Here, because there are some impediments, so and so, you find that there's a certain shortcut here, or there's a certain long track here, but still will lead you, but will make sure that you reach safely. And I think that's the way we should be thinking about this. And so, if this debt exchange is a problem, and indeed those who are involved, like all of us, it is because the wealth we generate today, it is not for us alone. It is for our family and generation that will follow. So when we put something together, it is not because we want to chop everything today. You have your certain son, your certain daughter who is living. She's the one you are catering for, and you take something from this, and so you find that when you lose this, for a whole generation, your family loses it. And so you can understand the emotion that people are talking about this. So I'm happy. I'm happy that finally the Minister of Finance has seen reason to bring on board the sentiments of those who are affected. And Senyor Hosea has been talking very hard on this matter. And I'm happy that finally they are saying, look, let's come back and see if there are alternative ways by which. But the lesson is that managing an economy, you need to really be mindful about the principle that should guide you whenever you are managing an economy. Your ethics and your planning, you need to be very frugal, because the economists say that resources are not all the time enough. Scarcity of resources. And there's nowhere in this world where you say resources are completely roundly sufficient. And that is why there's a need for economy to be managed. In all this we are talking about, I'm yet to hear what the economic management team is. More of the Minister of Finance, and he's at the center. But there was a team called Economic Management Team. What are they also saying about this? And I think it's a question that I hope that in the next few weeks, as we keep on talking, it will come up.
Yeah,
but focusing on the minister, and it appears that he alone holds the key.
Yes.
But the accounts will tell you that wisdom is not in the head of...
It's a good point you made. You've raised. I haven't heard the economic management team talk about the domestic debt.
No, the vice president.
No, yeah, he heads that team.
Yeah.
So maybe we have. Is it over personalization of the thing? Because then it puts all the heat comes on Mr. Obriata's head. I thought it was a teamwork.
But Kafui, we should look at manifestos.
Mm-hmm.
Is the biggest elephant in the room, because all these things stems from the kind of projects that a government wants to do, and it's all embedded in a manifesto. I think we have to go back, and we keep saying it, to this long-term development plan. It is key for us to be able to control the finances that we have and the revenues that come in.
Indeed. All righty. Messages coming in on 055-556-1034. Remember, we are just reading. We don't associate with your comments. We're reading them in the interest of democracy and free speech. And so that's it. We dissociate ourselves from anything that will be send me to court. I don't like going to court. Okay. In fact, this government is the real definition of arrogance of power. I think the banking and finance program being taught in our universities is of no use to our next generation. I have one of our social media gentlemen studied banking and finance, and I'm going to ask him what they taught him and see whether it's relevant to what's happening right now. CAF, if our leaders want money to develop Ghana, they should concentrate on state buses, trains, and affordable houses. Imagine all commercial vehicles and all major city houses belong to government, and everyday people travel with them. Monthly people pay rent like 100 cities. Government will get a lot of money without going to the IMF. Good morning, CAF. Thank you, Sheikh, for the wise counsel. There's also a proverb that says, you never twist the hand of an elderly person. This means that there are ways to correct elderly people without offending them. Thank you. Poyoyo. Poyoyo. I like your name. I don't know how true the guy's audio is, but I tell you, you won't report any case to Ghana police again if you report case to the police whilst you are not rich or famous. There's so many Ghanaians who want to solve their problems in their own ways and report it to the police. Land guards nearly killed a certain guy at Wager. We reported to the police, ... End. Voila. After putting outrageous taxes on us, you now want to enter into our savings. This is evil. Government doesn't feel the pain of Ghanaians. From PK, Wala Fashe Takwa. Patrick Kelly. Good morning. To give up is to accept defeat. May the Lord empower business. Amen. Business says amen. God bless you for your good work. The policy of gold for oil initiated by the VIP will save the country millions of Ghana cedis. VIP should be highly commended for this great step. Thank you very much. Who are you? Musty. All right. Thanks. Alaji Dawuda. My question to your panel, what about yesterday's win-win mastering of negotiations with the Minister of Finance? Indeed, one will say the minister is listening, says Alaji Dawuda. Nana Kojo. Give the people their monies back and stop the Kalabali and your Bible quotes. Reduce the size of government and bring back all the stolen monies. And so those are the suggestions that Nana Kojo is giving to the minister. Good morning, Kaf. I'm indeed enjoying the discussion with your two legends. I wish to plead with Sheikh Aremeyaw to repeat his advice to the youth, especially where he said, when you see children doing things out of gear, it means an elderly person somewhere is behind. I need that advice to be my phone ringtone. Sir Adams from Damongo in the Savannah region. Thank you so much. Patriotic Soldier. Good morning, GTV Breakfast. So what happened in the Chiana Senior High School? It was abysmal. If I were the president, I would need only 3 red kola nuts, 3 white kola nuts, 3 charcoal pieces, and a red cock. You'd have gone to the shrine to curse the students, but it was a good initiative that the president took. Imagine as an active and energetic young man seeing people of this age insulting your father or your mother in the name of politics. It's annoying. Some elders are spoiling the young ones. And then you mentioned some people you say are on media attacking and insulting elders. It's a great and it's a great influence on them. All right, okay. Someone lottery. Kafu, I agree, Mr. Jantuah. Apart from minors, the face must be shown. Minors, the face must be shown by the police. At least it can bring out more evidence for the public if needed, if indeed the person is a criminal. Okay, that's about the police and blurring of faces. Okay. I remember the airport and the harbor in Cape Coast promises. Please, let's deal with our primary problems first. That harks to the point on manifestos, you see. What are you saying in your manifestos? What's the planning? Let's focus on free SHS to survive and gain the needed roots before adding these fanciful things. Wachi Ejaku for president, that's somebody's name. Sometimes the life you live, the character you take, depends on how you were brought up. Allah bless the National Chief Imam and everyone helping the children in the house of Chief Imam at Fadama. We have a number of young people in Ghana and also from other countries who were brought up by the Chief Imam and his younger imams, and they are totally different in the public domain. Evidence of good training. Good morning, CAF. Immediately I heard that audio, I concluded the story was concocted. As a former law enforcer, I know that it takes more than a day for fingerprints to be analyzed. How can soldiers come to police station to slap and handcuff them? Despite its hollowness, some anti-police people swallowed it, hook, line, and sinker. Let's be careful. Niakwe, North Kaneshi. Well, the police didn't discard it. They investigated it and they came out, so that was good. In God we trust. The rest we verify. The police sometimes act professional in executing their duties. However, I don't think we should accept anything we find on social media. Listening to the audio, I came to the conclusion that unless the doctor involved comes out to assist the police, because especially some Ghanaians in the diaspora are fond of sending such speculative audios for attention. Yeah. So the latest is that the man has been arrested. He's not a doctor. He's an Uber driver. Blaming on human rights in the law because about the Achimota Rasta Boy saga. Do you think this can happen in the olden days? Ali says, good morning. You want to play some Lotto on your phone, but some police officers are fond of doing that, but the doctor seems not to be too intelligent in his narration. Well, intelligent or not, he's in the grips, iron grips of the police. You're not hearing of the economic management team because the finance minister never listened to the vice president. He thought he knew it. He thought accounting is the same as economics. That's your view. The last three, go on, Kaf. Ask Sheikh and others who matter to tell ECG to go around and collect the bills and stop asking for increase in tariff. A lot of things are happening in our school, but no one wants to talk about it. Abubakar Abdullah, good morning to Kaf and your fathers, Jantuah and Sheikh Aremeyaw. Something happened to you at Konfanochi, 1st January 2023. You lost your dad. Muslims who die in teaching hospitals go through a lot before the body is given out. They always say the person did not get 24 hours in the hospital before he died, so they need to do some autopsy before our religion is drawn on this. They must do something about this 24 hours thing in our teaching hospitals. They also say if you're Muslim, so our doctors should understand that dead bodies, especially Muslims, need to be buried quickly. So I'm sure we'll probably have a chat on that one of these days to see how we can sort out these things so that people can don't feel they are disrespected, and then the laws also can be followed. So gentlemen, we're wrapping up this conversation. I was reading about the New Zealand. She was the youngest female prime minister ever at the age of 37. And after 6 years, she says, you know what, I'm tired. That's quite an honest woman. Yes. You must know your weaknesses and your strengths.
You should. And if you have weaknesses and strength, bring others in to help you, execute whatever is left.
All right. Okay, we're done now. I mean, what does the week hold for you? I mean, the week is almost over. I mean, what's happening in the CPP?
Well, the NDC is going for its elections.
Elections, yes, in
and
May.
We are also gunning ourselves up
to
also go for our elections.
Okay.
We would need to vote in new executives and then go for flag bearer.
Okay.
So
that's what's happening.
That would be somewhere later on in the year.
Okay. So, all right. Thanks a lot. Kwame Jantuah is the chairman of the Political Affairs Committee of the Convention People's Party. He's a lawyer and an energy expert as well. Sheikh, what are we looking forward to in the future? The Chief Imam is in town?
Oh, Chief Imam is in town. Yes. He's very well. It's one of the things that is confronting us now. There's a young man in Kumasi who has been making some derogatory remarks about the old man. He's a Muslim, and so it's one of the things that we are trying to find a way to really bring him to order, so that that's what I was talking about.
And what are his reasons?
He belongs to a different doctrinal, and he had Chief Imam, and so he's been making very, very, very offensive comments about the chief imam.
So you're dealing with that.
And yeah, we hope that the regional police commander will take charge so that we don't see any upheaval. We save the situation before it degenerates into something.
Thank you. Our regards to him.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. That's our headlines conversation. We will be